Hello and welcome to week 3. A few things I want to cover in this introductory video. So first of all, I wanted to give you some encouragement. We have the second study guide in, and the second quiz is due tomorrow night or Sunday night at midnight. So keep up the good work. This is good work. I've received some positive feedback from a number of you about the meaningful learning questions and how it helps organize the chapter, helps identify the key points. Just stay strong. I know you're all master's students, so which means to some extent you're really particular about your academic performance. I almost guarantee you that doing poorly on these does not impact your academic performance, with the worst score being a possible 80%. That's why I put that floor in there. And then I go through and I invalidate items where if most of you get an item wrong, and I find that the text is misleading or the question is misleading, we throw it out. So don't worry. I can only say it so many times, but I'll keep saying it because I know it's hard. Don't focus on performance. Focus on learning. Come back to those 17 items and reconcile the study guide answers or the quiz answers with the quiz. See and go back and try to pick the facts apart. I'm pretty meticulous. These quizzes were Dr. Pratt's quizzes and study guides. So as I'm finding that some of them don't line up with the or when there's a question where, again, most of you got it incorrect or misunderstood, I'm going to assume the question's not clear and throw out some of those answers. So I'm on your side there. I'm a big, that's my area is learning and assessment. So, but I don't want to spend forever on that. The goal here is that you go through the study guides and it helps pull out those key points. So focus on those key points and how that wraps into your project. Because all these units really prepare you for each section of the project, your paper. All right, so the only other piece there is work together. Again, in the discussion board, I have a discussion board that I don't monitor, so feel free to shoot out there. I think question 3 is confusing between B and C. What do you guys think? And then set yourself up to get notifications. So when a classmate throws out a question, you get a notification. All right. So I'm going to move past that. Number 2, discussion board number 1. Your research questions are due again Sunday midnight. I already have, I believe I have 5 of your, 5 of you have submitted those so far. So that's great. Keep it coming. This is really key to get this rolling. And I've been sitting on those a little longer than I would like. But we're going to go back and forth 2 or 3 times on email to help really wordsmith and narrow down those research questions to make sure that your project is doable and that it's obviously in the proper format, it's worded correctly. But we're going to go back and forth just to help make sure that you have the best chance for success because your literature review obviously is heavily based on your research questions, and a lot of time and work goes into the literature review. So all this is going to flow downhill from your research questions. It's important that we get that right. So let me just check my notes here. 2 or 3 emails back and forth. Oh, it must be interesting to you. It really needs to be in the educational field. Someone had a question about does it have to be in education, but it also has to be interesting to you because you're going to work on it for the next 3 or 4 months. But remember, this isn't how you're defining your professional career. This is a practice exercise on research. So it can't be grandiose. It can't be experimental. It can't require layers and layers or statistical analysis. We'll talk more about that individually. But I think that's everything on that. Oh, the discussion board. So the fun discussion board, the getting to know you. So I have 7 of 11 of you who have weighed in on about yourself. I really appreciate that. I'm especially fond. Shout out to Andrew for the putt-putt photo. Appreciate everyone's got a photo up there. So that helps put some personality to all these texts and emails back and forth, all these submissions. We're going to have a total of 12 people in our class. We had 2 late ads, so they're doing some catch-up work. But appreciate it. For those of you who haven't weighed in on that, go ahead and throw your personal touch. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. So that brings us to finally brings us to week 3. So this week, I'm starting to reorganize these pages a little differently, but so that they flow a little more intuitively from my perspective. Week 3, your learning targets. So we're going to learn and review the basics of the literature review. And then the goal is for you to begin work on that. And discussion board number 2 is the place where you will submit that, and the place where it has a lot of the details on that. So reminders. So we're reading chapter 4, right? Locating and reviewing related literature. Also reminder, so I already mentioned the discussion board. The research question was due tonight at midnight, or it's due Sunday at midnight, whenever you're watching this. So chapter 4 study guide. So now we're going to be on the Wednesday-Sunday cycle. So study guides will be due on Wednesday for the rest of the semester, and quizzes will be due on Sunday at midnight for the rest of the semester, I believe. So we're in a good groove now, and that you should have a little more time. There's the PowerPoint. Again, Dr. Pratt does an excellent job reviewing the Pearson PowerPoint. Listen to that. Emphasizes things that, again, I will value. I also put in some convenience links here, so it's all in one page. So when you're done with that, you can link to the study guide, chapter 4, and then the quiz, chapter 4. Additional resources about the literature review. So we have the APA format template. That just helps flow your whole paper as far as the title page and introduction and some of those formatting pieces. And then there's 2 great videos here from the University of Maryland, Dr. David Taylor, who really explain this, the fundamentals of the literature review very well. I know as master's students, I'm sure you've done literature reviews. It's an important distinction between a literature review and an annotated bibliography. So it's important that this is a literature review, and that it's done in a very specific way. It's got to flow. It's got to tell a story. And so these YouTube links are excellent. Another piece that I'll just mention now is that you write this all in the third person. So that's the scholarly format. So there won't be any, I did this, I will attempt to do this, I will attempt. It's all written in the third person, and that's something we can go back and forth. I can help you on edits. And also another piece is that so you won't use the word correlation in anything that you're doing, because that falls under experimental and highly statistical. We'll talk more about those details, but those are just a few points I wanted to throw in again as we kind of begin to mold this project. Back to the page. So the library help guides again are in here. I think they were in there last week. It's a link to help you with the literature review. And then lastly, I have a link to the discussion board with the criteria for the literature review. Sorry, this has gone on a little long. Keep up the great work. Keep the faith. Keep the encouragement. You guys are doing great on your study guides. Just stay diligent there, and remember, all of those are little learning pieces to help mold, which is what, 70-80% of your grade. But the bulk of this class is to do the research project. So stay focused on that, and don't lose heart on some of these multiple choice questions. That is not how we're assessing your competence, and that's not how you're going to define yourself as a student. Is multiple choice. So have a great week, and please email me if you have any questions. Thanks.